STAKK Nation, welcome back to the channel.
Champions.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's happening. We told you, and it's already been happening, but it's a matter of when you want to see it with your own eyes. You know, one of the questions that I get very frequently when I start telling people about Bitcoin for the first time is like, well, what can I do with the Bitcoin? What am I going to do with it? Can I make some profit with it? When do I sell it? Is you tell people about Bitcoin, and the first thing they think about is when they can sell it to go back into fiat. I think that is the first area where there seems to be some blockage. We're not trying to tell you that this is an opportunity to make quick money. We're telling you that this is new money. This is a whole new platform. You get. An analogy is building in my head, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. But we're looking at these situations where this adoption is coming through and people are engaging in newer and even stronger activities with the use of Bitcoin, right?
Not Visa.
Yeah,
Bitcoin.
We see a situation here. As you know, El Salvador is one of those countries where they have made Bitcoin legal tender. And we see Mr. Scott A. Wolf here on Twitter makes this post saying, first attempt right off the plane to use Bitcoin in El Salvador. We gotta go to El Salvador, by the way.
We need to. But we're still accumulating Bitcoin right now. But once the opportunity arises,
definitely,
we're jumping on the flight.
I think that there's also the potential of opportunities that can generate revenue. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, it's like they say you can walk on chew gum, right? So, hey, at the same time, we need to be able to find alternative places that are Bitcoin friendly. Let me not even go down that road right now. But check this out, right? There was a $12 entrance fee. Maybe it was his fault for not looking closely, but process on chain, not over the Lightning Network. It's okay. Take the $12 fee, okay? If the price moves up, you probably recover the $12. Or it could let you burn your soul. That is PTSD from the fiat system.
Actually, he had $12 fee for whatever transaction, but he paid $4 in transaction fees instead of 20 cents on Lightning Network.
Oh, okay. So $4 fee as opposed to 20 cents on using. Okay, yes, totally. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I still say this. Okay. Even if you pay the $12 fee, okay, have you tried moving the same amount of money where they were charging this for $12 for in the fiat system? Yes, I get it. There's Cash App and such, but let's say you were going to the bank, right? Or in any fiat system, when you pay a fee, there is not a potential of your money coming back.
I'll give an example.
Yeah.
So when I travel to Nigeria, and I use my American card, I get a transaction fee for making a foreign purchase, unless you use a credit card, which allows you to do. You actually have to tell them before you travel. So not all credit cards allow you to do foreign purchases without international fees.
They hit you with fees.
So you want to buy the $12 transaction in another country? Guess what? How much I paid in Bank of America debit card fees? $5.
Huh.
And then I have other credit cards that will charge maybe $3.
Yeah.
And then I have another credit card that doesn't charge you a fee at all because that's just they got it like that. Yeah. So $4. It's like doing Visa, MasterCard type situation.
Now, here's the thing too. You could pay this, $4 in fees, and then Bitcoin happens to be moving up, and your funds, at least that $12 is recovered, right, just from price action. In the fiat system, when you lose a fee, the fee is gone permanently. There is no price action. In fact, the next time you pay that fee, they should probably increase the price of that fee because
inflation.
Yes. Now, here's the thing. If we look at this situation here, what is even more interesting to me in this, because there's two things that I mentioned. Obviously, he sent this on chain. When you send the Bitcoins on chain, essentially it will take maybe about 10 minutes or so to send, because you have to wait for the block to get confirmed before that transaction is finalized, right? However, there is what is known as the Lightning Network. Here, these transactions are instant and the fees are almost non-existent. Okay, maybe 20 cents for a massive amount, but if you're just doing small day-to-day transactions, most of the time it is free.
In Africa, we have what they call machankura,
right? Free. And then we have this thing called stable sats, and you will not believe it. Stable coins on Lightning Network.
Mm-hmm. It's happening.
I think this is a massive game changer. Double up. Talk to us about this situation here. Stable sats.
When we talk to people about Bitcoin adoption and why they're not using Bitcoin, they say it's very volatile. The price actually moves up and down. And I always try to give them the example of gold or even the US dollar, right? There's Forex. People actually trade the US dollar on Forex. And that is extremely volatile, right? There is money and then there is currency. When we were on the gold standard, when the money you spent was pegged to gold, gold was actually the money, the store of value. The dollar
is that when it was called a note?
A note,
so
IOU.
So let's say you had $5,000 of gold, physical gold in the bank.
Yes.
And then you gave someone, the bank will now give you
a paper note.
Paper notes up to 5, which represent up to 5,000.
Yep.
So you could be out on the street and you say, hey, I'm going to pay this guy $100 for something. And you give them $100 note. They can take that $100 note, which is the paper you gave them, and go to the bank, and they'll be able to cash in that $100 worth of actual gold if that's what they wanted.
They can take the $100 note of actual gold and go to the casino and gamble with it, or put it on the exchange and trade derivatives on it and bet and make up stuff, kind of like what the banks do. But the gold is still there.
The gold is still there.
Same applies here. The Bitcoin is always going to be there. 1 Bitcoin equals 1 Bitcoin.
The scary thing, man, this is all happening in a decentralized manner.
That is why they're coming after DeFi.
Which is why these banks are panicking.
Yes, because guess what? You can do everything on Bitcoin.
Absolutely.
But don't get caught up, though, falling for the banking schemes in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Do the real thing.
Yeah, just buy the real thing. Absolutely, definitely buy the... You know, one thing that is interesting to me is we have seen how many banks now file for bankruptcy.
Oh, it's increasing.
Right. And nobody is talking about... Well, maybe they're talking about it, but I've just not been paying attention to it. But something that people also have to ask themselves is, okay, if you're filing for bankruptcy, where did the money go? Right. The money that was invested has to go somewhere else.
Yeah, money moves. It's a currency.
Right. It's like energy.
Yep.
It's in someone's pocket because it's no longer in your pocket. Over these years, there's been a clear flight of capital from the fiat system. I think that's very clear. And I think part of the reason why, the current situation will never be fixed is because that money will never come back. Because it's in the crypto space, it's in Bitcoin, and it's never ever moving back.
It's in gold.
It's in gold. Exactly, right? And so, these banks are continuously, taking a hit. They're going bankrupt every day. And I think that's one thing that people need to consider is the fact that because these people can no longer control this flow of capital anymore, right? They cannot stop you from flying to another country with however amount of money. I mean, look at most people who become extremely wealthy in Bitcoin. A lot of them give up the U.S. citizenship. They give up the U.S. citizenship, and that is massive capital flight. You have to think about it. If someone is giving the U.S. citizenship up, they have made substantial amounts.
Don't encourage the government. The governments don't like that. They don't believe that you should be sovereign. They don't believe in no borders.
Yeah.
They want your money so that they can control you and your money.
Look, man, I've said it before. I'll say it again. Bitcoin is not asking for anyone's permission. Okay? These people have to either adapt or they will be left. You would find that a lot of these institutions will end up on their knee. Okay? Because they do not want to adapt to this massive change that is happening in the world of finance right now. This is their field. They should be jumping for this. They should be trying to find new ways to operate around this sort of decentralized technology if their banking practices and all these other instruments that they offer were genuine, ethically upright.
Boom. Okay. Americans will love and will be in America if governments and the banks do the right thing.
Exactly.
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing, and America is always going to be one of those greatest.
I would gladly love to spend my sats in America.
Yeah. Incredible. But at the same time, some of the people that are dealing with these things from these leadership positions have smooth brain, okay, and it will fly over their head. Not a problem. Anything else, Double O, before we wrap this one up? I think this is great for Bitcoin adoption.
You said it at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Literally. Stable sats, Bitcoin purchases. It's El Salvador, but it's only a matter of time. Argentina might just jump on it. Right. Nigeria, though, we're waiting on Nigeria to catch on.
There will be no turning back for this one here. In fact, actually, before we go, just one thing here. And I think this only further backs up the last point I was just talking about there, about these people, the massive capital flight, which they're unable to account for legitimately. And so they're going to try to figure out a way to maintain the control of all the money, right? Because if you have full control of, the money and anything that is done with it anywhere in the world, then you have essentially full control. You know where all of your money is. You know who took this much out of the country, and you know who brought back some. It would seem to me then that if you're trying to stop that, one of the best ways would be to abolish any sort of privacy mechanisms that this decentralized crypto or blockchain space can provide, right?
KYC.
FinCEN here proposes a sweeping crypto privacy crackdown, right? And they're using the whole situation in Israel as their,
as their weapon. And you know what though?
Where's that?
That has been debunked.
Yeah, it has been debunked. Of course, it's been debunked. But there's also that saying, never let a good crisis go to waste.
Oh, true that.
This is their motto. This is how they operate. You see, the surprise attack that happened recently, right? Put a spotlight on terrorism via, cryptocurrencies. Listen, these attacks have been happening before cryptocurrency was out here. But, I think that...
fiat.
Exactly.
On fiat.
So do not this is what they call gaslighting. Okay, when people make you feel like you're crazy. Like you do not recognize that there was something happening before crypto came out. There have been attacks before crypto. So it's something to really take a deep dive into and recognize that this is a war, but it is one that we, the people, can win without any violence at all. Because if you're fighting people who only know how to respond to everything with violence, then they don't know what to do when you're winning without violence, and they cannot carry out this violence on the scale of people that are waking up to the situation.
They're carrying out the violence, but they're still losing. Imagine all the on-ramp and the off-ramps that they've shut down.
Dude, who is not losing? The movie industry is losing. The banks are losing. Even
Starbucks is losing. How bad is that?
It is a very interesting economy we're running into. Okay, any final thoughts, Double O?
Hey man, if you have not liked and subscribed, you're still trying to figure out what's going on with your money.
Yes.
Follow us. You can sniff it.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Okay, like Double already mentioned, subscribe, like the video, follow us on X, STAKK, and of course we're also on Spotify as STAKK. Drink water, eat vegetables, and until next time, present out.